So thanks for coming, everyone. My name's Freiberg. I'm the Director of Ecosystem at the Iota Foundation. And today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different from the usual talks at the Eclipse conference, and talk about distributed ledger technologies and building an ecosystem around them. So in order to understand kind of what the technology is and why we're building it, you first have to understand the vision that we have for the future. So the future that we want to enable is one within an economy of things within it. And a way to understand that is to think about a city. And so a city is, houses thousands and thousands, if not millions, of devices, whether they be the boxes that change the lights on the street corners, the phones in your pocket, or the connected cars that we all drive in. Usually these devices have, tens or dozens of sensors within them. They're all collecting information, and much of that information is lost in data silos. That information could be relevant to the devices immediately around it, to somebody who's in a different part of the city, or people from other cities looking to travel or find information about it. What we want to do is we want to enable the value from these cities, from this data, to be unlocked and shared amongst it to create a better experience for people who are inhabiting the city, use less resources, and to make the city run more efficiently. In order to get to this economy of things, we need to rethink the way in which our systems are architected. So back when devices were being provisioned and put out into fields sensing the environment, they were relatively dumb. They had no connectivity or very little, and they were logging information to solid state that was within the devices themselves, and you had to have human mediators to go collect the information, collate it, and put it into spreadsheets. Now we're kind of in this era of smart centralization, where we have devices that are out there in the field. They're connected with an internet connection, or sometimes not, sending information back to the cloud where decisions can be made about the data that's being sent back. So this enables for a lot more kind of a better view of all of the information that's being shared. But the problem is that you have all of these different silos in which the information is and doesn't really penetrate outside of that. What we want to enable is having this smart decentralization, where we're pushing more and more of the decision making to the edge, where devices amongst each other are sharing information, whether that be incentivized or not, and allowing them to make decisions on the edge that can affect the local environment around them. And so this is much more adaptive and resilient than a central point of failure, like a cloud service that might go down or something like that, leaving these devices unable to make a decision for themselves. A really good analogy for this is looking at the way in which ants interact with each other. Ants are able to create amazing colonies and build amazing structures and work together, but individually an ant isn't that smart of an animal. It takes inputs, it makes decisions, and does outputs, but what they can achieve from that is quite amazing. So if we can think about that in terms of the future, I mean, we can contextualize it in this video about the energy sector and how a distributed ledger might be able to enable an economy of things with devices interacting with each other, selling and purchasing information and electricity.
In tomorrow's world, we'll all drive electric cars. And by using solar panels and windmills, we'll generate our own renewable energy. With smart charging, we'll make sure we use 100% of what we generate. This means that all kinds of devices have to start communicating with each other, and there'll be a need to make or receive payments for their services. That may sound complicated, but in practice, people won't even notice the devices are at work. Let's say you work from home today. Your electric car is parked outside and is charged by the overcapacity from the solar panels on the nearby school. In the evening, the energy stored in your car will now power the lights in your house. And together with other nearby cars, you might even be providing the power for a concert in the local park. Throughout the night, windmills located just outside the city will refill the car batteries. So in the morning, you leave for work fully charged on renewable energy. To successfully automate this whole process, both data and value transactions have to be calculated for every exchange between these devices. In the future, these will increase exponentially.
So this video that we just saw is a view on what the economy of things could be from the point of view of an energy grid operator. So this video was created to illustrate the ways in which adding payments and adding data transfer and trust into that can change the way in which the grid operates and the way in which we consume electricity. So this presents a much more efficient way using renewables of taking in energy, storing it, and using it at the appropriate time. And so what we want to do is enable this economy. So what's needed? So we have three things: computation, payments, and trust. We can see computation is being pushed to the edge at the moment. You look at devices like the Coral TPU, NVIDIA's Jetson, the new chip that's on the Pixel, the neural core. All of these devices are offloading computation from data centers to enable a better experience on the edge for users, and enabling resilience when offline and in various other scenarios. But what about payments and trust? So one of the technologies that can offer this is distributed ledgers. And so this is a relatively new technology that has only been around for about 10 years. And in essence, it's a database of append-only information. It's a peer-to-peer, and that information is shared on a peer-to-peer network, which each node verifies and processes according to a set of rules, and then consensus is made on which set of information is correct. And so at the Iota Foundation, we're working on a distributed ledger that is for IoT. So we've designed a different system which overcomes some of the limitations of blockchains by using a different data structure, a directed acyclic graph, to enable a lot of features that would allow for this economy of things to operate. So you can do immutable data transfer, so you can send information through our network, as well as value. It's more scalable than traditional blockchains and doesn't have the bottlenecks that are associated with them. We also made some decisions about the different cryptography that we have in our design, so that a device that might be sitting on a street corner for 10 years is able to be more resilient to new attacks that come up. And so with this, we chose a quantum-resistant design, just in case in the future quantum computers come about and start to break cryptography. And one of the main things that we have is a zero-fee transaction. And so what this means is that it enables a large number of different use cases that aren't available to devices at the moment. So in traditional payment systems, usually you have to use a centralized service of brokers and clearinghouses to be able to send transactions. When you send a transaction with the Iota network, you're participating in the consensus, and you don't have a fee to pay for that. So you're enabled to send, 1,000th of a cent or $1,000, and you're able to receive the exact amount. This enables things like, the streaming of electricity for money and payment in real time for those services. And you can think of many other scenarios like the purchase of data for very, very small amounts and the clearing of that, of those payments. Other use cases can include things like ride sharing, where customers hail a self-driving vehicle and pay for that, as well as things like truck platooning, where you're able to incentivize people to drive in front so that you use less fuel and are more efficient on your travels. But that's not kind of the limitation of where the technology is. There's many different use cases across many different industries, and they often overlap in terms of payments, identity, and various other areas. The problem is when you create a new technology where there are some kind of solutions that are already out there, you just create another competing solution, which is very, very hard to get adopted and have people utilize it. And with technologies like this, with our vision, the more devices that can speak the same language and understand each other, the better off, the more efficient, the faster things will go. So what we've turned to is building a strong ecosystem around the product and the technology that we're working on. And in an ecosystem, you need kind of three main things. You need technology, which we've talked a little bit about. You need participants or members of that ecosystem, and you need strong governance. We talked already about the technology, and I'll talk a little bit about the participants now. So the Iota Foundation is the main participant in our ecosystem at the moment. We're a registered non-for-profit, based and regulated in Germany. We have, back when we were founded in 2016, there was only 4 people in the project, and now we have about 100 plus full-time employees across 23 different countries. We have funding in the range of like 40 million euro, and we're focused, our mandate is on researching, developing, and educating people around distributed technologies, as well as cryptocurrencies. We have a lot of different focuses in the foundation, definitely around research, technology education, and standardization. These are the things that will really cement the technology that we're building and help people come towards it and adopt it in an easy-to-use way. But not only that, we don't want to be the only people in our ecosystem. So we are supporting different groups around us to be able to have more members of it and to propel the technology forward. So we have a large and diverse developer community with a number of people building projects, contributing to the core technology, working on second layer solutions. We have 150 GitHub contributors that are active. We have an external community of hardware makers that are working on our technology and building different use cases and testing our developer experience. And we also have a grant body available for people who want to build projects on the technology that will benefit the rest of the ecosystem. We participate in a number of events, enticing developers to use our technology, things like the Odyssey Hackathon in the Netherlands, and a number of different events that we've been at for the last couple of years to help people understand the technology and start to think about how distributed ledgers can be used in different use cases and applied to different challenges. In terms of the ecosystem development fund that we have, we do grants for software projects, hardware projects, educational content and reference applications that benefit the ecosystem. So any of these projects have to be open source, they have to benefit all members of the ecosystem, and we provide funding to those people who are interested in the technology and want to bring this vision that we have to life. In terms of our corporate community, we have partnerships with a number of different corporates. One of the most recent ones was one with Jaguar Land Rover, where we integrated Iota, where Iota was integrated into the hardware of the car. So the car had its own wallet. It was able to purchase parking, go through toll roads, but also because of all the sensors on board, it was able to send that information off, sell it to the local council, and be able to receive payments for that. And so this was kind of demonstrating how distributed ledgers could be integrated into everyday hardware and show the ways in which it's viable for businesses to integrate these technologies. We also do collaborations with various parties. One of the recent ones we've worked on is the industry marketplace, which has a large impact in terms of the way in which industry operates, in the sense that we have standards organizations, the foundation itself, universities and corporates coming together to build a system where they can tender, purchase and sell data, information and services amongst each other in an automated way that moves the human out of the loop. So when you integrate payments into the stack, you're able to have all of this cleared and work together in a seamless fashion, which is something that wasn't previously possible before. Not only do we work outside of the government, we also work with government projects to be able to integrate Iota technology and prove it. We were involved in the City Exchange project, which is a EU Horizon 2020 project, which has 11 test beds across Europe. And most recently, we made an announcement with the powerhouse in Trondheim in Norway, and I'll show a short video about that, which will help you understand how the technology was implemented and the ways in which it benefits the community as well as the participants who are involved.
Today at the Powerhouse, what we're demonstrating is that using a technology like Iota, we're able to track the provenance of electricity from solar panel all the way to electric vehicle. And then inside the vehicle, we can offer our customers a new option. They can charge solely from renewable resources. The Iota protocol allows something called masked authenticated messaging, MAM. Using mask authenticated messaging, you can put a message on the tango that will say where the electricity came from. The vehicle is then able to interpret these messages and decide whether or wants to accept the electricity. Iota was specifically built for the Internet of Things, and the vehicle is a rolling Internet of Things. It also uses feeless transactions, which is very important in a concept like this. By getting involved, either participating in or getting learnings from smart city projects like City Exchange and this powerhouse building, we're able to take these learnings and figure out what our customers want, how they interact with the cities of the future, and any new services that we need to offer as a car manufacturer.
A smart city is basically a city that uses digital services or data or technologies to make it easier for people to live their lives in a sustainable way. And the same way that we now have our smartphones, where you have all these kinds of apps and all kinds of services that can make your life easier. So imagine if we could do the same for a city. We can create neighborhoods that are able to generate more energy than we consume. And we want to make sure that these are solutions that can be used by many cities.
Involving cities, setting up dialogue, setting up arenas, so we can get more sustainable solutions, increase the citizens' involvement, and in the end create a better city. Because of the laws and the regulations and the money system, we can't do this transaction that we want to do. That's why Iota is a very interesting partner for us, because they are looking into how we can sell and buy data, because that will be an important asset in the future.
So that demonstrates the ways in which we're kind of working with partners to be able to prove and test the technology like we did with Jaguar Land Rover. And it demonstrates how not only in one vertical you can have an impact, but across different ones in energy and mobility and in smart cities, you can have all of these technologies tied together, information being shared, payments being sent, and enable a much more efficient way of operating. We also do a number of different things. We do workshops, thought leadership and facilitation, which helps encourage people to learn about the technology, help them understand the ways that they can apply it to their business, as this technology is quite new and different from those before it. We also have a very strong academic focus. We have a number of researchers within the foundation, and we've had a number of research papers on our core protocol, on applications of the technology and various mathematical concepts that relate to it. And this is this is kind of shaped by the research council that we have. We have a number of heavyweights from different areas, such as distributed computing, cryptography, and other related areas that will help us guide our technology to make sure it is safe and reliable for those that are using it in the future. We also have a large non-technical community as well. So we have various amounts on Discord, 100,000 people on Reddit, 15,000 on Telegram, and we have a number of people who have tested out our wallet, 160,000 downloads of our technology through that. So finally, I'll talk a little bit about the governance and what we want to achieve with Iota. So Iota was founded to always be open source. So any of the technology that we build is out there, the concepts shared and people learning from our technology. And in traditional ecosystems, it's often owned by a single entity, which can lead to discrimination and exclusion, and ultimately the limitation of any potential that the technology can have. So we really want to bring forward permissionless innovation, so not having any requirements for people to be able to take the technology and interact with it, but also help shape the governance and be a participant in that process. And so this kind of rings true that nobody, not even the creator of a technology, is able to fully understand its potential. And so at the moment, we are kind of the antithesis of that. We have a central repository where we have information, and that's controlled by the Iota Foundation. So we have a large number of developers and researchers working on our technology, and we publish this to our GitHub for anyone to use and implement. And anyone who wants to contribute from the community has the ability to go forward and do so. But what we really want to do is move towards a governance model that is more inclusive, that has strong stewardship, that allows for different companies and different individuals to be able to interact in a way where everyone is able to come to the table and shape the technology that we build moving forward. And so we have a various number of technologies that are out there. We have our core technologies, which are which deal with the consensus and the nodes of the software. So we have Erie, which is Java, Siri, which is in C, and a whole plethora of languages that relate to those clients, that node software. We also have tooling for our developers. We build things like Chronicle, which is a way of retrieving information from the history of the Tangle, as well as wallets for custody, as well as consumers. And then high-level stuff that relates to industry, like the industry marketplace, digital ID, master authenticated messaging, and various other technologies that are allowed by having a distributed ledger that's immutable and can do value transfer. One of the projects that is quite interesting to us is the Trinity wallet, which is a cross-platform wallet that has a focus on security and usability. So this is usually the first experience that a user has with a distributed ledger technology. And we've had a strong focus from the beginning on security audits and a focus on usability. It's quite challenging to build something like this with a consistency experience across the different platforms, as it runs React Native, which is on mobile and on iOS, as well as on Linux, Windows, and Mac. And so this has been, the first touch of first touch software that people use when they come to Iota. And so it's quite crucial that we have good governance around how the technology works, and moving forward, how we shape it towards the different use cases and different industries that are interested in our technology. So this is why we've brought Trinity into the Eclipse Foundation, into an incubation program, so that we can see how the governance works with Eclipse and move towards shaping it in a way that works with all of the different stakeholders who are interested in our technology. So we're familiarizing ourselves with the process, and the project is live and has been created on the Eclipse Foundation website, and the first commits are coming soon. So for those that are interested in collaborating on Iota technology and are interested in what's possible with it, we're more than welcome you to come and contribute towards what we have there. So what's next for us? We have this technology, we have a strong ecosystem, and we're moving towards a better governance model. So we're looking to mature the technology. Given that we're only a couple of years old, we're quite young, and we want to make sure that it's reliable in production and ready for people to use out in the real world. We want to expand the second layer, so there's more and more packages and building blocks available for people to pick and choose from to build a solution that works for them. We want to continue supporting our ecosystem with various events, whether they be corporate collaborations, workshops, hackathons, various things like that. We want to continue engagement with the developers that we have, and we also want to expand our governance so that people are able to interact with our technology, and that we can achieve the vision that we have of this economy of things. So thank you for listening. I hope you found that interesting and slightly different from some of the other talks that we've had today. And if you have any questions, feel free to come up to me after the talk and we can discuss. Thank you.